welcome to Pseudorandom.
Hi, my name is Colin Cunningham.
Hello, my name is Lamore Freed. And this is...
Stuff, but a lot of different things. It's Pseudorandom where we talk about different things.
I was wondering today, Colin, do you like to connect to cyberspace?
You know, I don't think I ever have.
Do you ever go on the internet?
Is that what I do at night? Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you do, what kind of hardware do you use to interface with the internet?
Well, I generally would prefer like a neural link, but since we are limited nowadays, I will use the usual physical interfaces, such as a monitor, a mouse, and a keyboard.
I have heard sometimes that some people are really picky about their keyboards.
They are. Well, some people are very sensitive to external stimuli and get very finicky about things that they use constantly.
Is it typing?
Which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because you use a keyboard all the time if you're the type of computer person and you live on it, and it's your connection. You know, it's the meeting point. Exactly. It's the interface itself. It's the edge. It's the frontier. It's the boundary between the skin and the machine.
Okay.
So people get, you know, pretty particular about how that works and what it is, what it's made of.
And you also write code.
Right.
That takes a lot of typing.
Of course, yeah, very intensive.
Okay, so a lot of typing. And have you ever had like carpal tunnel or anything?
I have had some issues. Worked at armrests, do amazing things.
But it's also important to have a keyboard that is easy to type on.
Right, one that you're comfortable with.
One that you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And
everybody's different.
You've talked to me before about these keyboards.
Right.
But I didn't quite understand the depths of your obsession.
I see where you're going now. Mechanical keyboards are a type of keyboard that is mechanical. Basically, we're done. Later, kids.
Wrap it.
You have a lot of options in this category of mechanical keyboards. Mm-hmm. Basically, individual switches. A normal keyboard that you get, let me rewind, will typically use like scissor switches over a membrane, and it just presses down to slightly separated traces and connects the circuit. Not a lot of travel depth to the key.
So like if you have like a Apple, like I know people, like you have like an Apple laptop,
right.
The keys only go like 1 millimeter.
Right.
And they're very squishy.
They're very flat. They're very flat. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of chiclet flat thing. But with a mechanical keyboard, you have a lot of choices, such as the family of keycaps, for example. So if you look, you know, these are just three types, but that one on top, the SA, I mean, those are big, chunky, old style guys. And then DCS is something would be more common, familiar with.
It's a little rounder, maybe easier to reach.
They're sculpted, like the top ones go higher and the bottom row goes lower, and like DSA is very flat.
Where do these words come from? DC.
They're just nicknames.
Nicknames. Okay.
Right. SA is spherical. I'm actually, you know, it's a really good question.
Okay, forget I asked. I don't know. Well, look it up on the internet.
Right.
Using your keyboard.
I did it one time.
So not even. So it's like just the keycaps themselves.
So keycaps is one thing. I mean, maybe I'm jumping ahead because the keycaps are, although they are the initial interface, probably the most elemental part. The thing that people get their own taste about is the switches, and there's the standard available types are a linear switch, which should move straight up and down, right? Smooth.
Yeah, smooth.
One with a tactile bump, which should be going down and they go whoop. You have to go over a little cliff.
Yeah.
And you'll feel a bump in your finger.
It feels clicky.
Well, it's more like bumpy.
Bumpy. Okay.
And then there's the tactile clicky, which has a sharp clack.
Okay, so there's sharp click, softer bump, and then no bump.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Linear tactile bump, tactile click, and there's different degrees of weight to the springs.
How hard it is to press them.
Right. The standard common switch maker, it's almost like they have a monopoly on this deal, is Cherry, who makes the MX switch line of switches, family of switches, and they have, let's see, for an example here. They're blues. This is a board that I've pulled the caps off of.
So this is a
mostly.
keyboard that you bought and that you're
Right.
like changing out the keycaps?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
You can
Oh, that's
hear a
really
little-
very clicky.
If I hold it up to myself. There. It's relatively clicky. I have clickier than that. And it's interesting, what actually goes on inside of these that makes one smooth versus one that is clicky. We should do a little take apart. I've got a clip.
Oh, you want to watch a video of you taking apart some keyboards?
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch that. So what's interesting to me in this video is that the switches have an actual spring in them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I make electronic kits or parts or stuff, we use tactile switches, and those use a dome. So it's actually a metal dome, and when you push on it, the dome clicks. It's a very sharp click and then the dome touches the circuit board.
Tactile momentaries, they use a dome?
Absolutely.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. It's funny. I've been so involved. I've enjoyed mechanical
Because
keyboard
it's so
stuff. I never thought
inexpensive.
about that.
It's just
Right.
a very thin sheet of metal, and they turn it into a dome.
Oh, a
and then-
metal dome.
It's a metal dome, and then when
Okay.
you click it, the dome itself is what shorts against the circuit board.
Because a really common type of standard keyboard, like non-mechanical, or people consider non-mechanical, is rubber dome.
Yeah.
They call it.
Okay.
But that's rubber, so it has a softer feel.
I think the keyboards I use are rubber
What kind of
dome.
keyboard do
Well,
you use?
I use a Dell Quiet Key, which people make fun of me for, but it's working out. So
Why do they make fun of you for it?
because it's kind of like really, it's just what I grew up
It's
with.
not elite.
It's not elite. It's really old. It's not like hardcore like a Model M or expensive like a Model
But that's
M.
the
These are like $10
whole point of being interested in this stuff isn't about other people's opinions. It is about what you like.
Yeah, I like. So what do you feel about this? Think about this keyboard.
It's pretty soft.
It's soft, but I
It
feel
has
like
a firm, but it has a.
the ending is firm. Has a mouth feel. Do you want to maybe
It's,
pull off some keys? We can see
yeah,
what this
yeah.
is. Okay.
I have
So
a
you have a thing.
keycap puller
This
here.
is amazing. This is like the most like
yeah,
Japanese
I should
tool.
show this on the
You got a keycap
over
puller.
the hover cam.
Okay, so let's
it
just,
Is, it is basically just two metal.
Prong. Why don't you
tongs
take
that
off
are
the
bent.
F1?
F1. All right.
I never use the F1.
Since that is nice and in focus here, let me
Yeah.
get mine.
I'll hold this steady while you perform the surgery.
It's a big board.
Dr.
I never
Collins.
use full-size boards.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like inside, wow, we got a big outer
You
shell.
can kind of see though. There's a little rubber
Mm-hmm.
gasket inside of there. I don't want to take apart the whole thing.
No.
But then this,
No.
you can't. I don't think we can pull it out.
No, not
but
pull it out. I was just pushing on it.
Yeah, there's definitely like a rubber elastomer
Oops,
inside,
sorry.
and then this is the mechanical switch. So it doesn't use a
Yep.
spring, which is a lot less expensive.
Yeah,
Like
it
those
is.
keys you're taking apart, there's a lot going on there.
There is,
It's like
yeah.
5 parts.
Pretty
This is
individual.
2.
Yep.
2 components only.
It feels pretty darn good for a rubber dome.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I like some of the, but some of the, it doesn't matter if it's cool or, you know, the new Gatorons or whatever, any of this kind of stuff. It just matters.
What
if
I
you
like
it
is
or
it's a
not.
full size. I actually really like having the number pad.
I can't have the number pad.
I love
You,
them.
you tile in numbers with the number pad?
Absolutely. So I used to
It
do
never got ingrained in me. I never started to do it.
I'll tell you why. I used to do the purchasing for Adafruit, all the purchasing.
A lot of numbers.
So a
time.
lot of products constantly I'm ordering. And when I order from a lot of sites, they don't save your credit card information. And so
good to know.
I would have to type in the credit card, and I actually had muscle memory for credit card, and then I'd hit tab with the other hand. And like it sounds like, well, like that doesn't sound like a really big deal, but I was doing this 30 times a day sometimes.
makes it
I'd
a
enter
big
in the
deal.
credit card and the quantity and and so I'd be using one hand for tabbing through or like control, and then the other for numbers, amount of money in credit cards. And so yeah, like I think if you do anything with finance, I think a keypad's
Yeah, it
handy
absolutely makes
with a
sense.
number
I
pad.
just don't. I guess. I mean, it is weird to have that single set spread across like that linear
do use
fashion
these-
for convenience. It's
yeah.
not. It's not.
I use print screen a lot.
You do.
Yeah.
Do you print the screen?
Well, it's screen capture.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm like
Under
I'm
Windows.
like what Shift Command for.
I like
Shift
page up
Command
and page
3.
down, home and end. I use these in Emacs. Delete key is handy because it's the opposite of backspace.
See,
like
I
I
like
use these.
remap these.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And then
kind
arrows.
of wish I actually used the actual functions. 'Cause
Are
I see
you-
these names on the keycaps all the time, and I'm
Like, what is home?
Oh yeah, I mean,
But this is
I understand
beginning
the
and
basic
end,
intention
beginning and
of
end.
them, but right, yeah, I know what happens on the screen when I hit them. I guess
And then arrow keys, of course.
you know it's about what works for you.
You're
I
like
guess
a
this
WASD
would
person?
what for like arrows?
Yeah.
Or for, no, I'm a big. I love my arrow keys. I need there. I just sort of switched. Well, I switched a long time ago from a full-size board down to a 10 keyless, which is a full-size board without the 10 key.
Well, that's nice. It's got
Nice.
the arrows though.
It's got arrows.
Okay,
It's not
so-
too big. You know, you can fit your extra Oculus headset and your cookies on the table, and
Because this is like so clicky. That seems
hear
very
that,
clicky.
y'all. It's pretty click. This is actually the quieter Cherry MX Click.
Which color is this?
This is a because I can't just tell you. I gotta prove it to you.
Yeah.
This is a
That tool is actually the coolest tool.
Cherry MX White,
Okay.
known as Cherry MX Milk in Asia, because Cherry also makes clears.
Oh.
You know what? I jumped ahead before pretty quickly.
Okay.
Let's do the Cherry family here.
Okay.
Let's get these guys down. If you could adjust camera, thank you much.
Okay.
So, hold on. I got
where
boards
did you
upon
get
boards.
this?
This is from Max Keyboard. You know him?
And
You
it's
guys-
like Max
I thought
Headroom.
you guys hung out. No. Okay. So here we have. I'm just gonna make a big old key mess. Hit the camera and knock stuff over. And
What?
Get all ruckus and hardcore geek on you here. Come on. So that's a red and that's a black, obviously.
Okay.
And that's a blue. That's a green.
I like your double,
We'll
triple
talk
key
about.
removal
Can we go for
technique.
4? Come on. Come on.
A lot of people know
it's
that Colin
ABS,
was a
they're sturdy.
dentist before he started working for Adafruit.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't a long career, but
You
it
know,
was a
people
career.
didn't understand me. They seldom do. This one is the
Creative
tightest.
dentistry is rarely understood.
All right, I'm gonna break something. Okay, so here we go.
Whew.
Yeah, we're good.
You feel
that,
manly?
That felt good.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, all the time. So this is a red. Like we said, it's linear. Push, push, nice and slow. This is a black, which is just like the red, except it's black, and also it's a heavier spring, so it's harder to push down.
Okay, let me feel this.
Okay, go for it.
Soft.
Taste test, touch test.
It's so slightly more difficult though.
Mm.
I mean, it'd be like 10 grams of force more? A gram force, whatever it's
It's I think it's about 15.
called? Yeah, okay.
I'm not remember correctly. I think it's 45 grams for the red, I believe. And I think it's 60 for the black. Somebody right now is going,
Most-
Colin, you complete noob.
Most tactile switches are like 150. Very clicky, very tough to press.
Yeah, they are. I always kind of got angry at them.
Well, they're not meant for keyboards.
This
Yeah.
is a Cherry MX Brown, and this guy has a little bit of a bump. These are way too light for me. It's like, was there a bump there? I felt like there's just like sand in the switch. I don't know.
There is a bump though.
There
I
is a
mean,
bump.
definitely
It's kinda
compared to the
loose.
reds, there's a little bit of it right at the end. There's a little slightly tougher.
Yeah, there's a And
Okay.
then these are the clears, which are really just slightly translucent.
Translucence. Okay.
And they're like the browns. They have a bump, but they have a heavier spring. I like those more than the browns.
So this is like no bump, red,
Linear,
black, and
yep.
then easy, hard, and then
Tactile
easy bump, hard bump. Okay.
Right. And then I'm gonna jump over. This was the whites, which is sort of the soft click we heard before. They're kind of an oddball. That was that board that I showed briefly. I'm gonna go around. The blue is clicky. You probably
Wow,
I
that's
need to
really
lean forward
clicky.
so you can clicky here. You hear that clicky? That was like the first board that I pulled out. I had a bunch of those on it. I had the keycaps off. And then the green is like kind of, doesn't seem like much more noise here in the surroundings, but it's a much heavier hit. Now, this last one is actually a clone, which, coach, one of these kids is doing his own thing. As you can tell, it has a slightly translucent outer casing, and it is a clone of a Cherry MX Black by Gateron. Perhaps Gateron would not say that they're clones, that they're original, or that they're their own thing, because people... Derivative, thank you. But the feel of it is slightly smoother.
This one.
So enough that people now prefer these Gateron derivatives.
It's a little easier to press than the...
Yeah, it's maybe a little less force required.
It's kind of in between the red and the black, maybe?
Maybe. I think it's a little
And then
lower
why
than the
this
black.
this one keycap you pulled off has a gasket on it? Do you know what that's all
wait.
about?
Rabbit hole goes deep here. Hold on a
Okay,
second.
wait.
Okay, no, I can go there. I'm going there.
Okay.
So as you pointed out, this keycap has a little rubber ring,
This one doesn't.
and
So
this one does not.
No, so what is up with that?
Easy to see because it's a clear keycap. That is an O-ring. So again, this is more customization to senses here. If, say, when I press down on, what's a good example of that, red? I'll lean in so you can hear. You hear the end of the clack clack where
Yeah.
the keycap stem keycap housing hits the key.
It's because you push past the spring, and so you're actually, it's not the click
it's
of the
making
spring.
plastic contact here.
yeah.
You've bottomed out, as they say.
Yeah.
That's the term. On your quiet key, it's pretty soft when you bottom out. It's pretty pleasant. But if you're doing this and typing a ton, it's actually kind of, people are like, I don't like bottoming out. I'm hitting the bottom. It's gross. So people put in that rubber O-ring. Where did it go? There it is. That rubber O-ring, so that when it bottoms out softly.
Oh, okay. So
bottoms
there's a
out
little
with
bit of like a
little-
parachute for the
Little
key.
grace, yeah. So, and you can hear it is actually much quieter when I bottom out with it. So it's like a softer overall experience. Sample that.
Yeah, it feels a little weird. It feels a little squishy though.
Yeah, some people are like, oh, it feels inexact. I like my clicking and clacking,
Okay.
my violence of keys.
So everybody has their
hitting.
own desires, and some people
Yes.
they really want to hear that click. Some people really want to feel that spring bottom out. Some people want like a bump. Some people want a harder bump. Like everyone's got their own.
And
Is there one that's like is it like one that they're like, this isn't the best? Like everyone loves it.
Sure,
reds.
and it'll change in 3 months.
Oh, it's totally fashion.
Pretty much. It's pretty much. It'll be like, oh no, these Zelios or these blah blah blah, like some, I think, like boutique keyboard maker or something, or maybe just like a forum user, somebody, a real enthusiast, contracted Gateron, the company that makes these the translucent housing switches, to make a certain spec that
Yeah.
they didn't have available, and now it's like exclusive. Only they sell it through, or that
This
person
is like
sells
super
it through the store.
otaku keyboards.
Are people
Yeah.
defined by Cherry or Gateron? Are you a Cherry person or a Gateron? Is that how the lines are drawn?
Gateron is pretty new.
Okay.
Cherry MX is a very old brand. They've been around since the
Yeah,
70s.
yeah,
Because
but-
like Cherry switches, you can buy them from DigiKey catalogs. And stuff.
I only first heard of the Gateron clones like a year ago or something like that, maybe a little less. So it could be in the future, but people actually wonder, like, they haven't been around that long. We don't even know if these switches last.
Yeah, that's very important because the Cherry MX switches, like Cherry is known, they have specifications for, they have testing procedures. They have a little machine
Right.
that presses over and over again because they eventually the contacts can oxidize or they can rub out.
Right.
The mice that Phil and I use, they have a Cherry MX switch inside of them, and eventually, from clicking so
Right.
much,
Yep.
they start to think of it's a double click.
Mm-hmm. I've had that happen.
The bounce is a little bit. It bounces a little bit too
they
much.
gold plate the contact areas, but even still.
Even eventually it rubs off,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can get a little bit of bounce, and then, I mean, your software should detect it a little bit, but if it's oxidized, maybe it won't make contact. You have to press harder.
You can pop it open and replace the switch. Most
You know
likely.
what? I looked and it turned out to be to remove it was so hard. It was actually kind of easier just to get
Yeah,
on the
because
mouse.
of the mouse, they're not really made to be serviced.
Yeah, it was.
Exactly.
I make an attempt, and I was like, you know what? I have to kind of get back to work.
Yeah. But to answer your question, Phil, I have been favoring Gaterons lately, but it doesn't matter. This is all, like I said before, about just finding what you like, and because of that, because of all these options, because of your O-rings, your keycaps, what material are the keycaps made of? ABS or PBT plastic?
Okay.
All this different stuff. It gets obsessive, and people get pretty much lost in it, kind of almost like audiophile tweaking. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's fun
And I have
as long as you don't, go broke.
Yeah, don't go broke. So the next question was, these MX switches, they're expensive. I mean, like if you bought a switch off of DigiKey, I think they're like $1 or $2 each.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, of course, you're only
Yeah.
buying one
Right.
at a time, so of course it's going to get cheaper overall, but
Right.
it's never going to be as cheap as like this, which is just one sheet of elastomer. Like there's one big sheet that's molded at once,
Right.
and then the keycaps are just molded. Each one of these has to be assembled by hand, and it has to be molded perfectly. So my question is, I know that Cherry has been making switches for a while. Was there one keyboard that used Cherry MX switches and people liked it, and then because that got attention, the market increased and there was more types? Like, which came first, the obsessiveness about the keys, or Cherry MX making all these keys and people picking and choosing?
Well, they must have. I think they were a manufacturer of switches, and then that's a hard question to answer. I do not know.
I didn't know. This is just a thought puzzle because how much are these keyboards, for example, these Cherry MX keyboards?
Well, it depends. Usually, you're talking like about $100.
It's expensive. I mean, like a keyboard can be like as cheap as $10, $20.
Right, and then if you want to customize it, then you find a set of keycaps you like. That could be like another $100. Depending on, they vary really greatly. A lot of them available just through group buys online, limited quantities. And then if you want to get like a metal case or something for it, then you're looking at like another $100. So it's like car modding.
So so this one, for example, has like dip switches on the back, which I think is kind of neat. Let's just show.
Oh yeah, that's if you do the overhead, yeah, that's for the board. I mean, obviously,
what is up with that?
That allows you to change the setup, such as where the function keys are located. I think this is a Keyboard Paradise V60, and it allows you to change the position of the arrow keys. Like normally these are modifiers, but because I've put the arrow keycaps on there because I've changed it. I don't know if it's the dip switches or another. I guess it's a different function, but whatever. These are the kind of options you have.
And this looks like kind of handmade-ish because it's like they have the keys are exposed on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Which is not a normal.
Normally you can't see them because they're black when you get Cherry MX switches.
No, but usually the molding goes up.
Oh yeah.
Right? So I'm
this
saying
would be like a floating style.
Yeah.
This other 10 keyless board I have is floating style like that. This case gives you that.
So these are Cherry MXs,
feel.
reds.
And actually it's easier to clean your keyboard out when they're floating because you could just dust out and all the cat hair comes out.
That's a good point.
No
Plastic
Cheetos
cats.
though. That's a rule.
Don't.
Right.
No, not with these. These are very nice keycaps too.
Yeah, this is a really popular type called Granite. And yeah, they're pretty cool. They're fun to push.
Okay, so you have that keyboard. And which one is the keyboard you use day to day?
The one I was using day to day the most was this one with the whites that I showed before, which was super clicky.
It's floaty.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. God, I can't believe I forgot. That's like sacrilegious, isn't it? It was this one. I've just put on a bunch of different keycaps to make it a Frankenboard to just test how they feel. But this one was
It's got the print screen.
using, hey, yep,
Nice.
got the option there. This one is using Cherry MX greens, yep. And
So-
it's loud as,
Very clicky.
it's loud as anything.
And why did you end up becoming a green? Why did you go with clicky in the end?
I don't know. I was wrong because I don't like them anymore.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
it really does change every 3 months.
Yeah. Not every 3 months. I had this for like over a year, and I'm just finally like, you know what? You know what it was? I used to be more heavy-handed way of type, so I would get a bunch of accidental presses when I had softer, less force switches. So I was like, give me something hard that's hard to press. You asked before. You said, where did this start? Like, what was the first Cherry MX board, or was there a chicken and the egg kind of thing? I don't know of the Cherry switches in origin, but the one board that people always point to as their starting point was the IBM Model M. Mm-hmm. Do we have a pic of that guy?
Oh.
Ooh, look at
By the Dell Quiet
bigger
Key is
than
like
us.
a cheap knockoff of it.
That works.
I think.
Have you ever used?
I think I once typed on it. They're very stiff, from what I remember.
Yeah, I never touched them.
I vaguely remember, but yeah, it's very rare to find them.
Yeah, they're really popular because the switches are called buckling springs, and not just because they're called buckling springs, but because that's how they actually work. I think we have pictures of the diagram. So inside of each switch is a spring that, when pressed, it folds and buckles, and when it does that, at the buckling point, a lever is activated below.
Oh, so then it turns into a clicky. It clicks at that point, so it's soft and then tough.
Yeah. Pop, and then it like pops.
Yeah.
It's a spring action, so you have the feel of that under your fingers with every.
And these were made out
character.
of cherry. switches.
Actually,
think?
No, I don't think so. I don't
Okay,
think they're cherry.
this is beforehand. But cherry switches kind of mimic. They have this spring inside, because for a very long time everyone did elastomers,
Right.
and then so cherry's kind of bringing it back to the spring.
Right. I mean,
action.
I imagine there's some use cases like in, I don't know, military applications or I don't know, whatever the world offers that would be better suited to springs, right?
Well, elastomers definitely- elastomers get dirty.
Yeah, they get dirty, and design standpoint, like if you can just do holes on a PCB for a switch versus adding an elastomer and stuff like that. So I would imagine for small amounts of switches, it'd be better to use like a
spring.
a discrete switch.
I think
instead
definitely
of-
the elastomers. I mean, it will eventually rip or go bad. I think
Yeah.
you have to worry about surface oxidation as well. And then I've got one more example,
Ooh.
and this is Phil's keyboard.
Next.
This is the next computer keyboard. And first off, can you just feel how heavy this thing is?
Whoa.
I mean, it's like,
I got some of these are pretty heavy, and I
but
wasn't expecting that.
this is like, it has steel plates in it. And it's got a lot of keys. And we actually had to modify this because it doesn't use, first of all, it's extremely clicky.
It's nice.
But I think it's a little too difficult to press the keys.
It's got a high resistance at the top, and then it lets go pretty quick. I wonder what these are.
Yeah,
Can
let's
we
pull
pull
the
the key out?
key out. Let's go.
Oh yeah, wait, I remember this. I remember this project.
Yeah, this was a couple of years ago.
So what was the interface like as I get this ready?
It was like a weird bit bang thing. It's not USB, it's not PS2. It's like they really came up with their own protocol. It's a fine
We have a
protocol.
learn
Their next
guide.
protocol.
We have a learn guide. It's freaky.
It's a learn guide. And it's funny, I went back to look at it a couple weeks ago, and all the links that I linked to where I got the information are gone.
Oh,
So it's like, I'm really glad I ganked. Is it?
I'm not gonna force it, but
Yeah, whatever. We have a spare.
Oh wow, I don't know if these are gonna come off. I might.
They're not removable?
Let's try another one.
I think Steve Jobs said I do not want anyone taking the keys off.
The keys are part of the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of the brand. You
We
can't-
may never know.
Yeah, it's a secret.
And
Oh, I got one. Oh, it looks like this.
Can you
Okay,
move it
this
up?
is
Can you move it up a little bit? So
I will, so you can actually see that here. I can move the actual camera, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay. So
that looks like an Alps switch.
Well, there's a little bit of a.
Oh, it says Alps on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it says Alps.
So I
on it.
wonder, these are Alps black.
So what are Alps? Are they elastomer? Or are they?
Alps are mechanical switches. I didn't mention before because we were focusing on Cherry, but there's also Alps switches, and even more
Japanese
rare,
brand.
there are Toper switches, which are electrocapacitive. Yeah, it's pretty unique feel it has.
You know what's interesting, when you press just the switch without the cap, you can feel the buckle.
You feel well,
Just at
whatever
the very
it
beginning
is.
when you press it, it has a little bit of a.
It's near the top. The
near the top.
indicator.
Yeah. Usually
Tactility.
it's soft and then it gets a little tougher, and this is
Right.
tough and then it gets
Yeah.
softer.
Yeah, I have not felt that before.
I can
It's
tell
a
you
new
one thing: no
experience.
one's ever pulled off a Nex key on the
have
internet
proof.
live on video. No, it's
It was pretty hard to do.
This is bizarre. So
Yeah. So these.
okay.
What
And
do I
then
do
you
with
got
the cap?
You got
It's
the
over there. It
You
says
got the
D.
interface that you want to show, lady, over the.
Oh yeah, so this is we had to.
Okay.
It comes with like a.
Okay. Oh yeah. So this is how you
A
adapted it.
weird-
You wrote. I mean, it's the magic is in software.
The magic, yeah. So there was power ground, so you power it, and I believe there's a clock and data line, but you have to. It's just not a standard. There's no standard protocol. You have to send it a query, and it will reply. So you basically have to pull it. You're pulling it constantly with a request to send whatever scan codes, and then you just have to decode the scan codes. And luckily, that somebody had ported like FreeBSD or something or NetBSD to the next keyboard, so they had the scan code table because it's always
Oh,
like.
so this is how you reverse engineered.
So
it.
yeah,
Okay.
One person had a detail of the request, and then once you got the data, then you just press keys until you see like, oh, that's the up arrow, that's a down arrow.
Right, and then you just went through and found each one.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, yeah, I mean, well, once you get the feel for it, you're like, oh, that's caps lock, and that's the shift.
Right.
You get A and then shift, and then you have capital A. So.
Right. This is pretty sweet. Phil, do you use this board?
Special occasions.
Special occasions.
When I have something really important to write.
Yeah. Wasted channel.
When you want to think of the future.
Can
through
you
the
paint,
past.
turn off the key? Turn off the key. Oh, so it's interesting. They're painted. If you flip the key over.
Oh, you know what? This is double shot. So what this means is, see that white
Yeah.
is the same color as the legend, they call it, the letter?
Yeah.
That legend is actually white plastic.
Oh, so it's not
That's
actually
formed
silk
flush
screened on.
to the surface. And so that means that the legend, as it's called, the letter, will never wear off the cap because it's made out of plastic.
That seems really, really expensive.
That's going far. That's called double shot, yeah.
Wow.
It's
So they
going far.
didn't, they really
But,
never
you know,
wanted the key to rub off.
Yeah, letters do rub off on like normal, like dye sublimated and printing types. Wow, the terminology. I never say it out loud, I don't think.
I've never seen something that had that kind of injection molding. That's why I was like, is that painted? What's going on with that? Well, no wonder that.
Flip it over and look at. There might be a date on the back. You can see how old it is, and it seems like it's new, and I've used that.
Let's see. Doesn't really have.
Next, Computer Incorporated, Redwood City,
Made in
California.
Japan.
Made in Japan, EDP equipment. Listed accessory for use with Next monitor, model N4000A.
You could look at when the UL was
Right. 324.
Probably coming up on 30 years.
You registered, but yeah.
Double shot is used in modern keycaps. This
Is that one?
from the Selectric, which is supposed to be a recreation of the modern Selectric typewriter keys.
Oh.
This is double shot. Yeah.
That's also okay.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
pricier.
really tall key.
It is. This is the SA profile.
That's that
or
mega
SA family.
Oh yeah, can we get that the
Yeah.
SA product? Because that's like a
And that's
weird gigantic tooth.
yeah. It's a big. I think it's the top row. So it's
Why
the tallest
so
of them.
tall?
Because it's fun. Look here. Wait, I got one. Here we go. Sample. This I have.
Okay, so this is oh my goodness, this is
all
ginormous.
SA keycaps. And yep, they're big chunky monkeys. Yep.
It's
They are,
gigantic.
they're there, and you're not going to ignore them.
Yeah, these demand to be paid attention to.
Have a go. Have a go.
Wow, yeah, that's a little weird. I mean, yes, it feels like you're on a keyboard, and also
Yep.
the font is beautiful. Of course, it's a lovely font. Look at this.
It's a little large.
Look at this quote and double quote.
It's there not to be
Wait,
ignored.
what is this? This is upside down, no?
Probably because I just
okay.
changed it before.
Oh,
started.
we were messing with it, yeah. I'm like, wait, that's weird. And then, interesting, for symbol keys, they just give you like generic symbols. This can be used by aliens.
Right. And
Delete.
normally the bottom row turns up at the edge of your hand, supposed to
Yeah.
be sculpted, but you
this
can
one
just
turns-
flip them. I've turned them around and flipped them upside
Ah,
down,
so
so my
they're-
thumb can rest against them pretty easy. A lot of people do that.
Okay. And why did you get this keyboard for?
Because I wanted one for my PC when my PC was separate from my Mac.
And these are reds. I do like
I was
I
using
do like
this
the
for
feel of the cherry reds. It's
The
a nice
PC
feel.
stuff.
And can we see is this double shot also?
Oh yeah.
Oh, these-
Those
this is
come
the-
off fairly
from
easy,
that-
actually.
Okay.
Double shots.
This I have never. I don't know. Do you think that's really necessary?
Necessary? Well, I mean, I've only worn through what's necessary. It could be. I haven't worn through them yet, so it hasn't been necessary yet. I'll put it that way.
I mean, like it's like you'd wonder. It makes me kind of
Where's
wonder
that
if it
open?
might be cheaper just to give you another set of keyboard
It
caps.
could, but then you'd have to find another group buy that's selling modern Selectric SA Profile Cherry MX compatible keycaps, which doesn't come around.
And where do people
very
go?
often.
Is there like a forum online? Is it on eBay? Where
There's,
do these
e-
drug addicts hang out?
Geek Hack is a big one. Desk Authority is a big one. That is somewhat more UK
Oh,
based.
yeah,
but
I think
they're
I've heard
both
of-
great.
Yeah.
Good folks, friendly people.
And these are all
Help you
USB.
out.
Who makes the main
Help-
board?
help to give the first one free, and then you start.
Yeah, where did you get that?
What's that?
Like that sampler?
Yeah,
there?
this sample is cool.
The
Where's the
sampler
sample?
is from a company called Max Keyboard.
Max Keyboard.
And you buy it, or they give it to you, or how's that work?
You gotta buy this.
You buy it. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be the first one's free, and then they
You
sell
can
it.
get these from DigiKey though. The
Yep.
part and Mauser and whatever. The part numbers are there.
Right.
So if you, I mean, like I'm sure it's more expensive because they probably make this
Mm-hmm.
little sampler.
There's also a company in the U.S. Pretty much the only one I hear referred to that makes keycaps, Signature Plastics, and they have a website called Pimp My Keyboard.
Okay. I definitely like the reds. So what's your current favorite? So that I know to get you for your birthday.
I like the reds. I like the reds and the blacks. I'm kind of leaning towards black, but Gateron Yellow is on its way in the mail.
Oh my
I'm gonna
goodness.
try them out.
Okay. Wow.
It's supposed to be.
I read about that on TMZ.
Yeah.
So
It's-
I've got a
it's
question
little
for you,
hush-hush, but
Colin.
they-
Is there
they leaked
anything
it.
missing out there, or anything that you would like to see that doesn't exist? Because I'm sure every keyboard Gateron fan club or whatever is going to be watching this.
Gateron really
video.
sounds like some sort of like
It is cool. What
Sounds
is
like
something?
a villain. In
A villain
Power
in-
Would,
Rangers.
would you
Yeah,
like? Would you
yes.
like them to be all be OLEDs? Is there like what would you like? A picture.
It would be cool if
on
we
each
could
one.
have. Wow, Dare to Dream.
Wait, I have a question. Why?
I wish all 60% keyboards had arrow keys in the bottom right. But beyond that, there's a lot further we can go outside of this paradigm, I think.
I had a question because I was just looking at the bottom. What's on the bottom of this key? I'm gonna show something over.
That is a big like stabilization nub.
No. There's a
What?
little diode symbol. Do you see it?
Oh, that's
up with that?
supposedly for there's a slots for an LED, which I think actually on this board too you can see I have an LED. I have LEDs installed. Although
Wait,
I
you
never,
have LEDs installed. but
Yeah,
why would,
I never use them actually. It was big. Like I got this earlier on, and I was like, I want all the features.
what's?
So there's an
Why would you
LED
have
there,
it?
I
Oh, for
installed those.
backlighting.
Yeah, for backlight.
Okay, no, I thought it was like for each LED would like light up as you typed, which would be really cool.
That is a feature on some. There's a few boards. I think Ducky keyboards.
Okay.
Are they just like
feature
on off?
patented.
Can you dim them? Can you turn them into flux so they turn orange at night? Like what can you do with these LEDs? Are they RGB?
There
This
should
is
be a flux
green.
feature, but they're not
Yeah.
RGB. These are just pretty neutral white.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, maybe that's a wish list feature.
That is a wish list feature. I mean, we have gone a lot further. There's OLED keys, right?
Yeah, I brought some samples to show off. So this is a key from NKK, and they're like, we want you to make a breakout for this, and like these cost like $30 each, but they're really cool. There's a little OLED display inside, and then on the bottom, these 6 pins are what you use to talk to them. I think it's probably just a Solomon Systech, like a generic OLED driver, like it's a very common OLED driver. And then this was something that Phil got many years ago, I think in
That's
Japan.
a 3-up version?
It's a 3-color OLED, and you know what? This is from like 10 years ago. It's called the Optimus, and it was
Oh,
just
I've heard of this. Okay, right.
yeah. So it had these color OLEDs, and I plugged in and actually got it working again.
Right.
But the OLEDs are so dim because
Oh,
10 years ago
LED.
when they made OLEDs, they dim after time.
they have such limited
How'd you get
lifespan.
the-
They
I mean,
do.
they
How'd
didn't
How'd
know
you
it
get
at
the
the time.
photos on there?
Huh?
How'd you get the photos on there?
It comes with a program, and so you tell it what you want each key to, and it has like a bunch of
Are they still around, the company?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, they actually have like a much larger version.
Okay.
And they probably have better. I mean, like 10 years ago,
Yeah, that was my previous life. I don't remember that.
But it did.
I think I
have a-
used it a lot.
This is what I need for my emoji keyboard. I need a big
But
span.
yes,
I need like a
basically-
5x5 grid with a scroll at the bottom, so I can.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're expensive. Like, so each one of these, this is just black and white, I think. I don't think this is color. I think this is black and white.
That would be good enough.
And this one is, I think these are like $15 or $20 each, and you can get them from Mauser. And I think this was probably $200 probably when it came out.
Right.
And it works, but yeah, it's just really, it was like you'd have to turn off all the lights to see the OLED because it was so dim.
Yeah, because it's OLED, it's not like a backlight went out.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
the
I
actual,
only
I mean,
use it in
also
the dark
maybe they dried
anyways.
out after a time, I don't know.
I only use it in the dark, anyways.
Yeah, no, but it's really but
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the new OLED displays that are designed now don't have the same
Okay.
issue.
Don't have the same life cycle issue.
Yeah, that was
Right.
its issue with OLEDs when they first came out. So these are pretty intense keyboards.
There's a lot of stuff out there. Interface, it's important. It's important. It's need options.
Clicky. Okay, well,
we
I'm
don't need
really
options, but we are luxuried enough to have them.
yeah. I like the MX Reds. I definitely.
I do too. I'm into the linears now. I'm kind of converted. I'm
Okay.
out of the clicky zone.
So let's say I wanted to get like a keyboard, let's say I wanted
Like full size?
a full size one with a Cherry
Full
MX.
size. Cherry MX Reds.
Yeah.
If you want the similar keycap profile that looks like the DCS.
Yeah. Where would I go to get one
Well, you could go to mechanicalkeyboards.com,
and just see?
which seems like an obvious option, but it is also a good option. They've got a lot of stuff to choose from. They even have parts you can order individual switches and bulk and stuff like that too. And beyond that, they're showing up more and more. They're even on like Amazon and stuff. They're getting pretty popular.
But you probably couldn't go to like a Best Buy. They're not there yet.
You might be able to get one from like Razer, like a gaming marketed keyboard.
Or is this
Yeah.
popular for gamers,
Yes.
coders?
Yes.
Yes.
In general, they say
yes.
like the reds are good for gaming and the blues are good for typing. Doesn't really matter. Everyone has different preferences.
Okay,
Okay,
maybe
cool.
a future episode of Pseudorandom we can go into mice because that's the next thing.
Right. I've got a lot to say about those too.
I am positive you do. All
Quite a
right.
bit.
Maybe
Remember
there'll
those
be,
gigantic round ball? What were those called? Every Mac user had them.
Every Mac user.
it was
had
whatever thing it was in Lawnmower Man.
the orb.
It was in Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, and they were like colored. They were like round ball thumb.
Oh.
Yeah, like
It had like, and then there's like a base. It's sort
Yeah,
of
it was like a
in-
Logitech like thing.
Oh.
Sun made it or something.
Never.
like
I was
that.
just like, oh, trackball. I can't.
Yeah, it's a trackball thing. But they were gigantic, and everyone got colored ones. I remember Macworld. Everyone had one of these. For
Next
Giga.
time. Next time.
Well,
Okay.
this was a lovely.
future episode.
We went pretty deep.
I learned so much.
Right.
I didn't know about Gaterum. Now I see. Then yes, they're labeled on here, and I'm actually into the MX Reds. I think this little key thing is very handy. Thank you for bringing it in.
Test-
It's like
Tester is good
Gateron
to
was like one of the Cardassians on Deep Space Nine, but no, no more.
Yeah.
Gateron Kel, maybe? Gateron Direct. I think that was it.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for bringing this stuff in. This was a pseudo random, but
That was a fun to do.
sometimes it's cool. Like you're really on the cutting edge always of technology.
This subject sucks you in. Be careful. Pandora's
That's
box.
why I'm
She's
like.
gonna get the res and be like, wait a minute, I need blacks. What is this yellow? And then it's gonna be, Colin, so you had the skinny on those blue O-rings, and I'll be like, Lamore, you gotta go to sleep.
I know you definitely gear obsession can kill you.
Right.
That's why I haven't changed my keyboard because once I change it, it's never going to end.
Find what you like.
Okay,
and
well-
stick with it until you get hooked on something else.
Thank you so much.
Good on.
That was a great episode of Pseudo Random. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Send us your keyboard suggestions.
Your keyboard pickiness. Send us.
We'd
send
love
us
to hear
your
about
energy.
it. Thank you. Bye.